Hey guys, welcome to a very special edition of Because I Can and I'm Up. Pretty sure this is the first one that the sun's ever been up for, as we usually start this one pretty early, but we have great reason for doing this today. We have here in the studio, and I don't apologize for it, and I think if you know me, you know this, my favorite musician of all times, the wonderful William Fitzsimmons is joining us. Welcome, sir.
It's so good to see you again.
It's good to see you too. We were talking about it has been a very long, it's been a couple of years. Yeah, easily.
Yes.
Since,
but we always make sure to see each other.
We do.
With some regularity.
And sometimes I got to fly out to see you. So
yes, and that is appreciated.
Well, I'm happy to do it. It's you're the only musician I actually will get on a plane just to go see a show.
That's awesome.
So, but welcome back to Houston. So we're thrilled to have you here.
Thanks. It's good to be back. It really is.
And you're playing tonight at the Continental Club?
Yes.
Very cool room.
Yes.
Very cool.
Never been there.
You're going to like it.
Looking forward to it.
It's a great place to play.
Yeah.
And I know that time is always important to a touring musician, so we don't want to keep you here all day. We would like to get you to play a few songs while you're here, if you don't mind. But I do have a series of things that I kind of wanted to ask you, and I wanted to kick off with, you've recently relocated to Nashville. Mm-hmm. I ask this question a lot when I meet music, besides the fact that it's where the musicians are.
Right.
What's the appeal to Nashville for a touring musician?
It's many things. I think it's compared to like New York and LA. It's relatively centrally located. Mm-hmm. So as far as just the logistics of touring, of having, let's say you have a one-off show or something. You have just a one show that's in Atlanta or something like that. It's something you can physically drive to instead of having to get on a plane. It's still, even though it's growing really fast, it's still really neighborhoody. I have a family. I've got 2 kids, so the thought of raising them in L.A. I know people do that, but I think those people are weird. But it's nice. It still has a really kind of a homey feel, and it is southern. And I lived in Kentucky for several years, and I actually kind of like. So I don't love the racism part. That part's not cool, but I do like. In general, I like the pace of being there. So, and people are criticizing Nashville a lot. They're, what did I hear the other day? It's L.A. with boots. As somebody put it. Yeah, but I don't think that's entirely accurate. I still think there's the community there is still relatively small as far as music goes, and I think you have the best musicians in the world. Yeah. Better than anywhere.
And a lot of places to record, too. I mean, it seems like there's a studio everywhere.
Everywhere. I mean, literally, you find garage studios that are better than most places in any large city, and it's just some guy that just threw it together.
Yeah.
And he's got the amazing vintage mics and a beautiful board, and so it's cool. It just makes things a lot easier.
Right. Yeah. Well, what kind of got me in with the fact that Nashville wasn't quite it is the country mecca, but there's a lot more going on, was when that 10 out of 10 tour happened a while back with Trent Dabbs. And
yes.
And that guy's, I love Trent Dabbs.
Trent's amazing. Yeah, Katie Herzig and
Aaron McCarley was on it.
That's
KS
right.
Rhodes.
It
was a good tour.
Yeah.
Actually saw at South by Southwest, they did a thing, the Hotel Cafe versus 10 out of 10. And it was like a battle of the bands with a bunch of, like, Carey Brothers was there.
Even though they're all friends.
Yeah, but it was like, I think there was some, like, good-natured ribbing about who was. But it was the coolest show. It was on a parking lot.
But that's what I mean, is that you have these, you have these communities that are, they really are small. Like, we played in L.A., this will sound kind of name-droppy, but these are legitimately friends. We played in L.A., and, for the last song, Carrie, Jim and Sam, bands that are supporting us on this tour, Allie Moss, who's in my band at the moment, Josh Radin was up there, Brandon Walters, who plays with Lord Huron and plays with Josh. It was legitimately like it was it was like the Traveling Wilburys up there of singer-songwriters, and there's a friendship there. We don't. There's not a competitiveness. There is in some areas. I mean, the people that say that even in the singer-songwriter realm that say it's all totally cool, that's BS, man. It's not. There are, because it is. There's only so much. There's only so many Kia car commercials that we're all trying to get on or something. Do you know what I mean? So there is some, I wouldn't say there's bad blood, but there is some incestuousness professionally and otherwise.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Nice.
but in general, I mean that sincerely, in general, it's people that are kind of trying to lift each other up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, we were saying before, the last time I saw you, I think was when you were at the Troubadour in LA, and I went in a day early, and I remember just thinking, okay, I was staying in West Hollywood anyway, and I thought, well, I'm going to pop over to the Hotel Cafe because whoever it is going to be good.
It's going to be good.
And it was Bootstraps.
Right,
and it was just like, I thought, oh my God, this is like the greatest musical weekend ever because I get Bootstraps on one night, and William Fitzsimmons. It was the coolest thing ever. It's such a great show.
No, and I was actually talking to Carrie Brothers. Carrie and I we become good friends, and he said that, you know, at a hotel there's like there's a bit of a lull, and there's kind of a new generation that's coming in, and now we're the old guys now, you know. But it's neat. It keeps going. You know what I mean? And places like that, they really do help to foster really talented people that otherwise might not get a shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They might not have a booking agent or have some label that's dying to get them, and they can go to a place like that and kind of hone their craft.
And it's a great sounding room.
It's a great sounding room.
Yeah, it is. And I think we've created a great sounding room for you. We worked on it hard, and I would love nothing more if you would play something off the new album.
Let's do it. Yeah. This one's called Angela.
I can't believe that we burned through this whole pack of cigarettes. I swear to God there is nothing to do in this town. Maybe we'll find out that we're just not made for each other. Hell, I don't care, you're the best thing that I've ever found. And sooner or later we end up as fragile compartments, tired of carrying a soul that is so far from home. I never said I was scared of eventually dying. My only fear is I might have to do it alone. And wherever you go, I will find you. I will find you, Angela. Sometimes at night I can still see you laying beside him, whispering about all the hurt that you're leaving behind. And they tell me Jesus can fix all of us that need healing. Wonder if he'll think of me when you open your eyes. And wherever you go, I will find you. I will find you, Angela. And wherever you go, I will find you. I will find you, Angela. 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 Angela.
Wow, that was amazing. Our contest winners can clap. Clap that is actually my favorite song on the album, by the way. It's just perfect. It's almost to the point of irritating. I remember thinking,
I don't know what that means.
Well, there comes the point that I keep thinking, okay, this thing has to run dry at some point. I mean, it just can't be. And then I honestly put that among the three, in my opinion, best songs you've ever written. And it's just...
I've gotten wonderful feedback about that one particularly. And
Man.
If I can be so bold as to agree, sometimes there's just some that they just kind of feel magical, and I don't know why, but they come from, I hate the esoteric stuff, but they come from I hate the cliches that we talk about in terms of songwriting, but legitimately some of them, they come really fast. Like I remember what the story of Bob Dylan asked Leonard Cohen how long Hallelujah took him to write, and Leonard lied because he was embarrassed, and he said like 5 years. And Leonard asked Bob how long it took him to write Like a Rolling Stone, and Dylan was like, I think it was about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a 15. Angela was a 15-minute one where it just you're in a really intense emotional place, and it just comes out.
You got to go through a lot of shit though to get that song out in 15 minutes.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, I don't covet that stuff, and there is some truth that suffering does. It can help to produce good art.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't the case.
Yeah.
I don't look for these things. I just happen to be really good at making bad decisions.
It seems to be right in your wheelhouse.
It's a magical power. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: who are you listening to now? I want to know who you're listening to that wouldn't come as a shock to me, and who you are that would.
Floor, I'm really into right now. I don't know if you know that band. It's like kind of poppy, indie stuff out of Portland. I love them, and there's something about that production. It's upbeat, but it's not surface. You know what I mean? Like it has real good energy to it. The guy's voice is unbelievable, and I love the production. I'm a sucker for the '80s stuff still. You know, I love those big Juno synths and the choruses on the keyboards, and just a distorted guitar with like big power chords. You know, it feels good. You know, and I think that stuff can be. You can't slag it off just because it doesn't sound like James Taylor. I love that kind of stuff. You still feel emotional things. Like I've cried to their songs before, but they also sound good as well. You know what I mean? And I mean, to be fair, and the one that would be no surprise at all is a record that's kind of helped me go through my second divorce that I'm currently going through is Mental Illness by Amy Mann.
Okay.
I think it's an absolute masterpiece, and I've been a fan of hers for a long time. And this record, she actually won a Grammy. She won her first Grammy for this record, and which is kind of ridiculous because she should have won, 15 by this point. Yeah. But it's it's a powerful record. It's really stripped down, and it's just, I don't know, man. She can say stuff that it's that old cliche of feeling like it's being written right to me. There's songs on that record that I have to be careful. If I listen to them too much, I go a little bit too internal, you know.
Yeah.
But there's more than that, but those are two big ones I think as of late that I've been listening to.
And this may be your answer to this next one. I don't know for sure. Who's your dream duet partner?
Well, as you know, I've had some good ones.
You've had some good ones,
man.
Yeah.
Amy would probably be up there. I mean, and it's so dumb because I've gotten to sing with quite literally my favorite singers. I would say that my all-time number one is one that I have done music with, which is Rosie Thomas, and we're kind of bros now. You know, she moved to Nashville as well, and she's got kids, and I've got kids, and her whole family's amazing, and she's one of those singers for me. She's up there with like Brooke Fraser that we were talking about earlier. Rosie opens her mouth, and it hits me. It hits me so powerfully, and her songwriting is next level too. But even just her voice, she asked me to be a part of her band for her. She does a Christmas show in Nashville, and so I was playing acoustic guitar and sleigh bells for that, which was
wow.
Man, she bought elf shirts for everybody, and like she had fake snow that she was like throwing on the audience. And to sit there, I cried that night because even just being in her band, listening to her sing is a very spiritual experience, you know.
Yeah.
So she remains my dream. I keep trying to get her to officially be in a band with me, you know, but she's currently she's still nursing. She's got a young baby.
Gotcha,
Number 3 is still too young for her to kind of get back out.
All right, can I tell you who my dream duet partner for you is, and see if it just totally Patty Griffin.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would work.
No, I mean Patty's. I'm going to go see her. She's playing the Ryman with Laurie McKenna, who's another one of my favorite songwriters. Oh, wow. And I mean, Living with Ghosts is that is a touchstone record for me. It's a demo.
I know, isn't that crazy?
It's a demo, and it's like better than most records you'll ever hear.
And you wouldn't change a note of it. It's perfect.
Oh God, no. I mean,
Yeah.
Not Alone. Remember the last song on that record?
Yeah.
You know that. Oh God, that brutal. Yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah,
let's make that happen.
Yeah,
you know?
get to work on that. I want to do something real quick, if you don't mind. I want to kind of, and I certainly want to get to this new album, Mission Bell, which is just stellar. But I'd like to do a quick little revisit of the catalog, and I don't want to get into all of the EPs, the live stuff.
Right,
I mean, you did a Christmas EP this past year, which was really cool. First Christmas album I bought in God knows how long. People are like, you bought a Christmas album? Well, look who it's by.
Yeah.
So it made sense.
It's the anti-Christmas.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But I just want to know. I'm just going to bring up the albums, and I just want you to share your thoughts, any memories you have, until When We Were Ghosts.
Graduate school, still thinking that therapy, you know, being a therapist was going to be the next 40 years of my life. It's so that when I think of that record, it's not the songs or the music or anything. It's literally, pushing aside textbooks and stuff to make room for the microphone to record it. Yeah, no, it was a break. It was like the J term of I think my second year of my master's program in Pittsburgh, and I had like just a little bit of money, and I bought some really cheap recording gear, and I'd always wanted to, I'd done the whole thing where you set up like the little Radio Shack tape recorder,
right,
and then you put that tape into the boom box, and then you put another tape, and then that's your multi-tracking. You can't even hear it; it just it just hiss after like 2 takes, but I'd done all that, so I was like, "Oh, this is cool." The technology was starting to change, so now you could buy stuff for pretty cheap, and it sounded okay. Yeah. So, that one is definitely tied to that time in my life. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've just got huge affinity for that one. it's one of those records that right when you hit play, you're like, okay, I think I know where this is going to go.
Yeah.
The opening line. I mean, everything was just really grabbed my attention.
Man. Yeah.
And I told you before, the original idea for the name of this show was Zach Braff's MySpace page.
Yeah.
And I just saw you on the picture of music, and the beard was way longer,
right.
which we're going to get to that.
Sure.
But you had a lot of hair. You just kind of looked like and I just thought, man, what's this guy selling?
Right.
And I clicked on it and I listened to it, and you probably have gotten this for years. I just couldn't believe that was coming from this guy.
It's the dichotomy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the dichotomy, and that I think that played a big role. I really do, because at the time that's all you had. You had quite literally like a 1 by 1 inch picture on your computer screen, and then you had a little music player,
right?
And so if you could get somebody with that, then that was great. But if not, I mean, I didn't have a record label. I wasn't touring, and Zach was really cool to essentially promote me.
Right.
Like that for no other reason than I think he just liked it.
Right. Yeah.
He liked the music. So, that was good.
Cool. Well, that brings me to the next one, and this was the album that had just come out at the time I discovered you. Good Night.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? What do you remember about that one?
That's a dark. As much. They kind of all are, I guess, but that's a hard one for me. Because it was like, by the time I made the record while I was still with my first wife, and by the time the CDs showed up from disc makers, like they were like the place you could buy 1,000 CDs and that kind of thing. By the time they showed up, my wife had already moved out. So, and it was about my parents' divorce.
Right.
But obviously, I think it's sort of inextricably linked to my own divorce. And God knows if I was writing about, I've had people ask me that, like, was it really about your parents or was it about you? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I have a master's in psychology, so I guess I got to say it was about me too. That one was hard. I can't listen to that one.
Okay.
To be frank, yeah. And I like the songs a lot. I think there's good songs in there, but that one just kind of hurts.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a decent record. It's
a really good record, man.
Thank you. It's way too long.
It's really good.
The average song length is like 6 minutes. I went straight like early Dylan.
Okay.
It's like write 8 verses and just record all of them.
Yeah. It's pretty open. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of pretty open, the next album it's truly my Sgt. Pepper. It is the apex. If I could ask music to do anything for me,
right,
The Sparrow and the Crow does all of it. It checks every box for me.
Thanks, man.
It is, in my opinion, it's my all-time favorite record.
Dude, that's amazing. Thanks.
Damn it, is that a tough one? I mean, that one. Yeah. Am I wrong to look at it kind of almost as a concept album? Because it sort of tells an entire story.
Yeah, I wanted to read like a book.
It does. It very much does.
That was the idea. I made that one out in Los Angeles, and I was a mess, man. I was a mess, and it's again, it's the cliche for me is that they're all like, when's his happy record coming?
Right.
It's not,
Yeah.
But that one, taking breaks and vocal takes to cry for a little bit.
Yeah.
That really, and therapeutic in a way. I'm really proud of that one. It was frustrating though, because that is one where the people latch onto strongly for I think for understandable reasons, and I think after a while I was trying to beat that record instead of just doing what I needed to do. You know what I mean? Like to say where I'm at and to tell whatever story needs to be told at the time. Dave Bazan said do you know who that is?
Mm-hmm.
Pedro the Lion. He said, wonderful, God, amazing singer. He said this, he said, you always have to be careful to not become a caricature of yourself. And when you're writing, when you're in the studio, if you do it for long enough, it gets to the point where you'll stop something, even if it's good, because it's not you.
Oh.
You're like, oh no, that's not a William Fitzsimmons song.
Interesting.
And you have to fight that. And a good example of somebody who's fought that well is Sam Beam or Sufjan, where they almost force themselves to not write Iron and Wine songs, to not write Sufjan Stevens songs, to get away from that. And that can be frustrating, I think, as a fan, because we want our artists to serve us in the way that we were most affected by it. Like when I heard Creek Drank the Cradle, one of Iron and Wine's earliest ones, like, dude, just make that record for the next 10 years.
It was the exact same way. And he really lost me on a couple of them. As did Sufjan. Age of Ads, if I live to be 600, I'm not going to quite get that record.
He alienated so many people with that. And I love it.
Do you really?
And I love it. And I have to be honest, I tried to be a hardcore fan about it and love it. And it wasn't until I heard some acoustic versions of it that he played on, KCRW or something, that I was like, oh, I actually like that a lot better. Yeah. And I felt like a creep. But I think if we don't allow artists to exercise those muscles, they'll stagnate.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Carrie and Lowell was, whenever that came out, I think a lot of his fans kind of came back and they were like, well, that's a masterpiece.
Yeah, I bought it twice.
That is a masterpiece record in every sense of the word. You don't need to skip a song. You listen to every fade out the whole way through. But it's tricky. It's a tricky thing. And he's someone who he has to make sure he's doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
That guy has turned down more offers than most of us will ever get in our lifetimes.
But how cool was it seeing him on the Oscars?
Yeah, it was amazing.
That was so cool.
But even then, he found a way to, he wore a dragon tuxedo. Like he found a way to make it his thing. That was his. That in that 20 seconds or whatever they gave him, that was a Sufjan show.
Oh yeah,
you know, and I love that and it's not that you have to do an FU. I mean, I think it's a big honor, but I like that he didn't placate to the situation,
right.
Yeah.
No, it was very, very cool to see him there. For people that are into this kind of music, it was like that was our next Elliott Smith.
That was the Elliott Smith moment, wasn't it? It was the white the white tuxedo at the Oscars. Yep. It was the same. Yeah, it was the same exact thing. I agree.
I get it totally. Okay, let's move on. Gold in the Shadow.
Yeah.
I've read you say some things about this record.
I didn't feel like I was in complete creative control of it. It's a good record. That's some people's favorite record of mine. Of course, there's some songs on there that get requested at the shows. Mm-hmm. It's a good record. It's not bad, but if I could go back, I think I would change more to that one than probably any of the other ones that I've done. Some of my favorite songs that I've done are on that record, but as a whole, it's maybe, I don't know if half-baked is the right word, but something like that.
From a production standpoint, or?
No, not necessarily. I think from an overall standpoint, from a writing standpoint, I think I think it has some weak moments, and not lazy, but just not. I just wasn't digging in enough. I think part of it was making that record because it was time to make a record.
Oh, okay.
And that's a bad that's a bad way to be. But a lot was going on. I mean, that's when I was my wife and I were adopting our first baby at the time, and I was I don't know. There's always a lot going on in life, but I don't think I was ready to make it. I think if I had waited another 6 months, half the songs would have been different, and I think it would have been a lot better.
Okay. All right. And then going to move us to Lions.
I really like that record, and I don't understand why it didn't perform better than, I think we were looking at it in the wrong as a team, like the William Fitzsimmons, whatever that means, It was going to be a moment. You know what I mean? Like we got Chris Walla from Death Cab to produce it. We spent a ton of money, and I think the songs are really strong. There's no hit, but I mean I don't do hits. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't do the 3-minute 30-second chorus in 24 seconds. I don't do that kind of thing. But I think everybody on my side, including me, I think we thought that record would sort of propel to like a next step, and it did fine. Mm-hmm. But it was, it's kind of just one of the catalog. It's weird. Okay. I still don't understand. I honestly don't understand why that wasn't a bigger record than it was. But that could be. It's not my job, and it was a good lesson to know that if I think about that when I'm making a record, it's gonna be it's gonna be bad.
It's a big standout for me. It's probably my second favorite album.
I love it.
That record. Yeah,
it's really good. I mean, dude, Fortune. Well enough, like some of the songs I think they're phenomenal, but
great songs.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, I don't know Chris is a unbelievable producer, and I thought he hit it out of the park, man. Yeah. He had Jason play the drums in there. Jason from Death Cab played them, and
Did Chris know he was leaving Death Cab at that point?
No, he was already he was working a lot on his own stuff. I think more than usual. So I think maybe
he maybe knew, but he hadn't made the decision.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, but he would when we would finish, he would do some of his solo stuff. Like if there was downtime and stuff. And so I think he was wanting to move in different directions. They're still a great band, but they definitely they're
not the same band.
You can't fill that hole. Like that guy is next level. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask you one more question. I'm going to ask you to play another song from Mission Bell, but this song has to do with Mission Bell. Really, this would, if you look at the catalog, this is the second in your, I guess, your second end of a relationship album.
Yeah.
Kind of chronicling
Yeah.
that. Sparrow and the Crow seemed to me like sort of a hello world. Here's everything that happened and exactly how it happened.
Right.
Mission Bell is not quite as obvious. Was that a conscious choice, or do you just think you're becoming a more nuanced songwriter?
I think I appreciated the complexity of the situation more. It wasn't a cut and dry. The Sparrow and the Crow was, it wasn't one-sided, but I guess I was just younger. I was a little more immature, and it makes for great lyric writing, because it's really like, take it all away, I don't feel it anymore. That's a pretty plain lyric, but it has a nice gut punch to it. And I guess this one, there's just more going on. There was this relationship wasn't. I don't mean to get too dark, but this relationship wasn't supposed to end. I was intentionally going to not let this one end, and we have kids, and it's. I guess I realized that it's more complicated. It's not a good guy, bad guy thing. And I don't think I painted my first wife poorly at all. In fact, I think in The Sparrow and the Crow, I think I put myself.
It's pretty clear you're the crow.
That's exactly right.
It's pretty clear to me.
Yeah. And I guess on Mission Bell, there's no, it's two birds of the same sort. It's two decent people that did love each other very much, but they just hurt each other maybe a little bit too much and couldn't make it work.
I'd love it if you'd play another track from it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let me retune here. I'm going to play, this is probably one of my favorite songs I ever wrote, and it started out for a different project. I was writing songs for a Jack Kerouac project. And it was for one of his novellas, Tristessa. That's about he lived in Mexico for a little while, and he had a relationship with I don't even know what's the way to say. She was a sex worker, I guess would be the way to say it, And my wife did not like the fact that the female protagonist in the story that became her was formerly a hooker. She wasn't very pleased with that, but. Sorry, hang on. I just learned how to play this thing the other day. So this is called Never Really Mine.
Did I meet you in the morning? I could never tell. We were coming down together, sitting by the Mission Bell. I was overwhelmed with sadness when I heard what you'd become. Maybe someone's waiting for you in a city further on from here, but I'm not coming back for you. 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 You were never really mine. Aaron's in the corner, sitting on a filthy floor. can hear them through the door all night. Now I walk beside the water as the sun begins to break. 20 miles outside Boston, I don't see your face anymore, but I'm not coming back for you. 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 You were never really mine. Never really mine at all. Never really mine at all. Never really mine at all.
Oh, wow. It's amazing. The beard is shorter.
You said that. You said that with an accusing tone.
A little bit. A little bit.
Yeah.
I only said it because the station, we're actually putting on a beard and mustache competition next month. And it's like, so beards are kind of like on my...
Yours looks fantastic.
The harsh light gives the appearance of gray. Wow,
That's right.
damn. Okay.
Can
it's getting old. Yeah.
Can
go
I
ahead.
say that same thing as well? I'm getting a little. I got the little skunk strike going on right there.
Yeah, I would.
The ladies like it.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Makes
go.
us look wiser.
That's it. That is it. You shaved it off. I saw a picture.
Yeah.
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 Just are you growing it back out again? This has got to be more manageable. I read somewhere where you had said
man.
you kind of wished you hadn't have done it because now it's such a part of your. People
Yeah.
expected this massive, huge beard everywhere you went.
No, literally, there were times there still are when I think people are a little bit disappointed. They're like, "Oh, what happened to your beard?" No, to be frank, it was the last time. I guess it's my divorce beard. I guess is what I should call it.
See, most people grow one.
Yeah, no, but you do the opposite. No, you
Yeah.
know what it is, man? It's like I think sometimes when we go through difficult experiences, we need some sort of external ritual to mark the moment or to help us feel like there's change. It's almost a substitute for internal change. But you get a
Right.
tattoo, a woman might cut her hair or dye it, or color it. Man might do some drastic change as well.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, I think I didn't want to look at the same person in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's as simple as that because I didn't like that person, I didn't feel good about that person. So even just literally shaving the beard off and having a different look, it enabled me to at least not have to face that person as intensely,
Yeah.
I'm still facing that person, but I just wanted to do it at a little more manageable pace.
Yeah, I get that. Well, your songs, we talked about, an album you don't listen to much anymore. There's a lot of personal stuff. I mean, you've really aired out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Are there any songs you don't play any longer because you just maybe don't feel the need to revisit that again?
Not necessarily. I don't. There's nothing that I will rule out because I think I have the responsibility as a performer to play something if somebody wants to hear it. So now that being said, I say no a lot, but not out of spite or consternation or something, just because I can't remember how to play them anymore.
Yeah.
But I will always attend, like even if it's just a verse, like somebody. Actually, people on this tour have been calling out a lot of songs, and even if I can just remember a verse, I'll try to play it. My process has been to allow the songs to kind of leave home, and by the time I'm playing shows, sometimes they're for me, but a lot of times it's for the people in the audience, you know, and
Yeah.
and that might, I don't know how that sounds. I don't know if that sounds douchey or not, but I've had to, a couple times on this tour playing specifically some of the new songs, I've had to stop and I've had to turn around and just take a moment because I've literally begun to cry in the middle of a show. And that sounds pathetic, I guess, but there's no acting here. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a Sasha Fierce persona that I can go into. And I understand when like when Beyonce first revealed that, people were like, that is so weird. But I get that because performing it's so vulnerable and it's so naked. You're putting yourself out there, you know, even doing the show that you do, you're putting yourself on display.
It's not a lot of effort on my part.
Well, but
you're going to have to trust me on this.
But you're doing it, and you are opening yourself up to the people's reactions, and they're allowed to have any reaction that they want to have. And I'm fortunate that most of the time they're positive. But even letting myself get into the music that I make, it's costly. You know, what Mark Kozilek, he's probably my favorite living songwriter right now. It's Sun Kill Moon, formerly of Red House Painters. Yeah. Supposedly just an awful man, but he's a genius songwriter. But he said one of his songs, songwriting's painful, songwriting hurts, and they proceeded to list off a few songwriters that have taken their own life. Kurt Cobain, Elliott Smith, these guys, and there's other things going on. But he's speculating in the song, and I would wonder as well whether or not the process of going to the place that you have to empty this stuff out and then literally repeating it every single night for 2 hours, is that taking a toll? You know, and I, for me personally, I think the answer is yes. Sometimes it is. So getting back to the original point, for me, it's healthy to try to focus on letting the people that want to hear the songs, let them have the song. Yeah. It's not about me anymore. I told my story. Now it's their turn to have the experience with it. But
you have a very unique and interesting fan base, I think. And the reason behind it is you've been so open. Right. You've been so honest.
Right.
Your fans feel like they know you. They know a lot about what's going on. So they have this affinity, this affection, this love for you.
Nicknames immediately.
Yeah.
People call me Fitzy all the time. They'll walk up to me and be like, Fitzy, how you doing? I'm like, do we meet before?
Right.
Or no, but I get it. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Well, go ahead. But the point I'm trying to make is they love you. Yeah. I mean, they genuinely love you. But we love your sad, depressing ass songs.
Yeah.
And so I remember, from following you on social media, there were these posts, a while back. And I don't want to say cryptic, but they were
they were
sort
cryptic.
Of okay. I didn't want to say it, but they were cryptic posts. But it was alluding to the fact that I think he may be having a relationship end here.
Yeah.
And my first thought is, I hate that for him.
Oh, no, don't say
but
it.
But I'd be lying if
God
I said the
it.
second thought wasn't, Jesus, that next record is going to be awesome. That was how I thought. And
sure.
I cannot be alone in this, but you get that, right?
Of course.
Yeah, it's got to make sense to you.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a natural... Dude, I've had close friends that are also songwriters that have said that very same thing to me.
Yeah.
They're like, man, channel it in the music, brother. You got some good stuff. And I think if you look at it on the whole, it is a healthy thing. I mean, I journal. Mm-hmm. That's an activity when I got back into attending therapy, not giving it but receiving it. I started to journal and meditate and kind of do some necessary practices that I should have done for a long time. And songwriting is roughly similar to that, to journaling. So, if it serves both purposes, I think it's great. I just don't like the idea of like trying to, like, if I were to get into a relationship and then end it so that I could have stuff to write about.
Just torpedo it on
purpose. That's dark. That's unacceptably dark. So I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. And I mean, to be frank, I wouldn't say I'm excited about that, but I am motivated to write songs right now because of everything that's happened. I'm in a place where music can kind of cradle me a little bit, and I can sit down in the studio with my producer Adam Landry, and he's one of my best friends too, and we can get into it, and we can uncover some stuff. We can fight out the things that I'm going through, and it's a healthy thing.
Well, you probably don't remember this, but I talked to you on the Sparrow tour, and I had asked you, what on earth would possess you to do this? I mean, just to put it all out there. And you had said something along the lines of, if you were seeing yourself as a therapist, it's what you would have said to do. Do you still feel that way?
That's a really good question. I think so. The one thing that my wife, she's still legally my wife, said is to be careful. We got kids now, and I need to be okay with them hearing what's going to be said. This is a peripheral answer to your question, but I think it's related. I don't like the idea of censorship. I really don't. I'm really opposed to it, but I'm a father and I'm a human being, and it's not worth, great music is not worth harming another human being.
Right.
I would rather make a less good record, and if it were to make sure to not cause harm, if that makes sense. So that being said, I do think it's important to say some stuff. I mean, there's hard stuff on the record. Yeah. There's hard stuff, and this record was not met well by my ex, and that's okay. I totally understand that. And when she writes a book, which she probably will, when she writes a book about her life, there will be some not nice things about me in there, and I'm gonna have to be okay with that. What's the old line? If you wanted me to not say it, you should have behaved better, or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, nothing to write about if you behave well.
Yeah.
So no, it is important to get these things out. If they stay inside, that's when they eat you alive. You have to externalize it in some way.
Yeah. Well, off of the why and a little bit more to the how, you recorded this album differently.
Yeah.
You didn't do a digital recording on that.
Well, I did, but then that
it's
one
on tape.
That one got
yeah.
thrown away. Yeah. I mean, we finished it, man. It was a full record. It was done. It wasn't mixed, but it was done. And for reasons I think you probably know, that one ended up in the garbage can.
Will it ever see the light of day?
Never. No.
Okay.
No. It wasn't as good. That's the thing. It will, if I die in like 5 years, there'll be this very small cult, following, but that will want to hear that record.
Yeah. And
you have my word that it's not near as good as this one is. Yeah.
But you recorded this one on tape.
Yes. Down in Nashville. Adam Landry, I like to say his name because I think people should know it. And I mean, he's a very successful producer on his own. He works with Deer Tick, Vanessa Carlton. He's got several artists down in Nashville that he's their number one call. And we shared the same manager, and it was this situation where we were basically screwed. Like, we had spent all the money from the advance. There was barely any money left to live on, and we had to start from scratch. And Adam was hesitant at first to do it because he was, he didn't know if he was going to have if there was going to be a songwriter ready to make a record, or like a shell of a human being showing up and just weeping. And we talked on the phone a few times beforehand, and we were pretty much on the same page. And it was one of the most important experiences of my life. And to be frank, if it weren't for Adam, I don't know that I'd still be here. Physically, not just making music, but I mean just alive. He's an incredible human being. He's a very spiritual person, and aside from the logistics of making the record, which I will touch on, but just being there with him, with a loving brother, and getting to talk and cry about these things was really important. It was really necessary. and it translated into, we would walk right into the studio and turn on the tape, you know. And the tape thing was scary. I'd never done it before. I'm a digital guy, man. You go in, you play you do 10 takes of the guitar, cut and paste it all together until it's perfect.
Yeah.
You know? And Adam doesn't work that way, man. He doesn't want that. He wants the performance. Let the tape roll. If you mess, we can punch. But let me tell you something. If we punch and you mess it up, that's gone, man. Those electrons are literally gone forever. So I was so broken as a human, though, that I was like, okay. You know, I just, whatever, man. And it was cool. He would set up some mics, hit record on the machine, then we'd both go in the live room, and he'd play drums and I'd play the piano or something at the same time. And it's this weird thing where you're like in the middle of it, and you're like, oh God, dude, I have to do this right. I can't mess up. There's no stopping. There's no breaking. You have to perform. And if it's not good, there's only so much you can do to fix it. So I intend on continuing that process. You know, it's why a lot of the old guys still do it that way, man. There's magic. There's magic in the limitation.
I like that. I like that. Well, the album is brilliant. I mean, it is absolutely. I'm amazed. I'm always amazed when you put something up. This one was just really. This was a kick in the gut for me to listen to, but it's just absolutely beautiful.
Thanks.
Just one of the most beautiful records I've ever heard. I just have a couple more things, and I do have a song request that I'll get to. But I want to touch on the tour. You're playing the Continental Club tonight. You're in Europe after this, so you've got the U.S. tour. Then you head over to Europe.
Yep.
Outside of the U.S., because the U.S. is going to be a pretty easy place for you to play because everybody can understand the emotion in the words. Mm-hmm. But you play overseas a lot.
Yeah.
And you play to a lot of audiences that do not speak English. So they're having to rely on the emotion of the music and of the way you're saying it. That's got to be a little bit more difficult. And I'm curious, where's your favorite place outside the U.S. to play? Your favorite country outside the U.S. to play?
Germany.
Easily.
They embraced me from day. Actually, any German-speaking country for some reason. I mean, we do well in all over Europe, to be honest. But Austria, German-speaking part of Switzerland, and Germany. And man, it's just wonderful. I love touring over there so much. It's just there's something. It's like American people love music. It's not that they don't, but there's some kind of communal feeling to, like, the fans that I've had over there. I've had literally since 2008, and they're the same people, and they're coming to the shows still. It's like their 15th show, for some of them, and it doesn't even matter if they like the last record. You know what I mean? Sometimes people tell you that stuff anywhere in France and Spain. They'll be like, I did not care for your last two records, but I'm hopeful the next one will be. And they still come to your show.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And it would be a gross and unfair thing to say that in the States it's more fickle, but it is more fickle here, just in general. So that's one reason why I do like going over there, because it I don't want to say it feels more appreciated, man, because that's discounting so many wonderful fans I have here, but it's different. Yeah. It's a different thing. The language barrier is almost nothing. Even if you do go and play, and in most places in Europe, the English is, it's actually better than here in some places, because they're teaching it at such a young age.
Yeah.
But in places where the English isn't that good, like Paris would be a good example. There's not a ton of English spoken there. They don't love that language. It translates. There's something about the way you feel when you listen to this music that people can understand, even if they don't get the words.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, so that's the good. What's the shittiest gig you ever had? And we talked before. I think I was at the shittiest gig you ever had.
You were at one of the top ones.
Okay.
Or bottom, I guess I should say.
Yeah. You claim you can top it.
Yeah.
I'm dying to hear you top it.
Savannah, Georgia. I won't be able to give you a year, but 2014, maybe 2013. Place called The Wormhole. and that's a generous name for it. It was the kind of the penultimate beer-soaked rock club. It was in a pretty awful part of town. There were the bars on the doors and the windows, and they had to lock the door every time we would go in or out, like to load in. They had to lock the door because the security guy wasn't there yet. So they literally locked us in, and they would open it again when we went to go grab another guitar. The bands playing, the band names of the bands that had just played, or on their event calendar, were like, it was like Pussy Thunderkill, and it was bizarre. Barely anybody there. We had driven, God knows, how many hours just to get there because it was kind of off the beat. Savannah's pretty far down there. Barely anybody there, and there was a drunk woman that broke into the green room just because she wanted to hang out with me. Story of my life. And and her husband proceeded to basically heckle and threaten me for the entire show after that, because I think he was really jealous, and I almost came to fisticuffs. I think that was awkward. Sound went out in the middle of the show, and I told the band to just leave, and I just finished the show just in the audience there. And the best part, my booking agent sent me back there the next year.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I literally said, I'm never going there again. And he said, this time's going to be different, man. Ticket sales are great. It's going to be same goddamn thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
Same thing again. So if anyone's looking for a nice place to hang in Savannah, dude, I am so sure it burned down in a meth fire by now. That's the only saving grace, is that it cannot exist anymore, or else there is no God.
That's worse than mine, I will admit. But you remember it. It was in Houston.
Yep.
This was early on. This was early, and you were playing a vegan restaurant.
Yep.
And
check.
Yeah. As people do, play vegan restaurants.
Sure, of course. Sure.
And there were those of us that were there for the show, but there were those that were there to eat.
There were restaurant patrons.
Yes.
Because it's a restaurant.
It's a restaurant.
Yep.
And there were these just 4 or 5 female jackals in the back.
Yeah.
That just would not stop talking. You were just emptying your soul out, and it's just cackling and glasses dropping, and it was an absolute nightmare.
And you can't blame those women.
I did.
Well, okay,
I was giving them looks.
I probably did too. Yeah, but it's so funny, man. The situations that we find ourselves in. They booked me we played in a hotel bar on this tour.
Really?
It was a venue-ish, but it was also I can't even remember where we were, but it was a hotel bar. It was fascinating. I'm standing up there with professional musicians that I'm paying money to, and there's like people with their suitcases walking through the audience of the show, going to the, you guys, anybody know where the elevator is? It was awesome. That kind of stuff. I'm to the point now. I'm like too old to get mad. Now I'm just like,
you just deal with
I'm drinking another beer and just
there
having
you
a
go.
good time.
There you go. Well, you've been amazingly generous with your time here today.
No, this means a lot, Doug. Thank you.
And thank you for doing this. I did ask if I could make a request.
Yeah.
I started, and I got to thank Network Music Group for this. They've been wonderful to work with to make this happen.
They are fantastic. Yes, they are.
Great group. But about 2 months ago, that this started the process of getting you here. And I've thought about it, if I could pick a song, and it's changed like 30 times.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And if you asked me in an hour, it would probably be different.
Yeah.
But if I have you sitting here and I could ask you to play any song right at this moment, it would be People Change Their Minds. Do you remember it?
Sure. Maybe. Let me try. I gotta remember the tuning first, but I think.
Gotcha. I have backups. But
I think, should we try it?
Yes.
Let's give it a try. Yeah,
that's another one that's
I like that song.
It's a beautiful song, but that's a deep one too.
So that is about that's about my biological grandmother on my dad's side, who I did not know of. The family didn't know of who this person was. It was a total mystery. It was essentially a closed adoption. the story was, and you might already know, forgive me, but that my dad basically, when he was 6 months old, got taken back to the hospital and left there. And we never knew exactly if his mother left him there or if maybe the state kind of intervened and said, you're not able, because we found out later through the Ancestry.com and all that stuff. And when I actually ended up talking to it would have been my dad's cousin. There's still some family members that were alive, and his birth parents were long dead. But she was a drug addict, his mother, an alcoholic, and she had she just had a rough life, man. It was just a poor soul kind of thing. And she had 5 kids. My dad had 4 siblings, and a couple different fathers. I'm not disparaging her for that. I think she did the best she could, and she had a hard life, man. And she quite literally died being estranged from her family as well. Like they had basically had to, I think they sort of had to write her off because she was sort of a hopeless case sort of thing. So, I don't know why, but I'm a person. We should have empathy for these people, even if they hurt us, even if we can't have them in our lives. We should still try to have empathy for these people. So, anyways. All right, let me see if I can grab a capo. I might need a capo for this one.
Well, while you're doing that, there's the thing about this song that I think hits, because it's very clear what the story is, what it's about. It's an amazing amount of understanding on your part in this song. There's it's not judgmental in any way.
Well, it's my dad's story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the trick, is that I didn't feel like I had a right to judge anybody for it. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, like, it would be, if he wants to be furious about it, and my dad, by the time we found out all these things, and my dad was not really an active participant in finding out these things, which is his choice, Mm-hmm. He didn't really want to know too much. He wanted to know a little bit. He wanted to know some of the story, but as far as ever meeting anyone, that, his words were something like, I had a family and they loved me, and that's enough. You know? So it wasn't my place to vilify anybody. It's my place to try to understand where somebody's coming from.
You were set to sail at sea so young.
We're gonna start that over. I'm gonna pull out the lyrics. I'm gonna do this one.
You are? Okay.
We're gonna get this, man. This one feels right to play right now. Hang on, I'm getting old, Doug.
You and me both, pal.
Hold the phone.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, there we go.
You were set to sail at sea so young. She was only 17, I'm told. This is not about a signing plane, but it was wrong when she left you. And you were just a boy when she moved on. Though I'm told that you were better off, still I wonder if you wanted to. Where did she go? close enough to reach her hands. And I know it's been a real hard year, but I'm hoping you can let it go. Cause you still have so much love to give to those who still need you. And people change their minds, and she was happy once, like a mother holds her children close enough to reach her hand. Her hands.
Remarkable. Wow. William Fitzsimmons, thank you so much for doing this.
Doug, it was my pleasure, buddy.
It
And you
just-
pulled out an emotional one for me.
Sorry
there.
about that. They're all kind of emotional for me. If I think I told you before when we started this thing, my number one dream would be to actually have you here in the studio to perform. My musical Mount Rushmore is your head 4 times. I know
With
you
different
can't.
iterations of the beard. Yeah.
True. You can't see it right now.
Yeah.
Look at it later. There's a graphic right over my shoulder right now of Mount Rushmore, and it's your head on it 4 times.
I love it.
But
Hey, man, this was amazing. Seriously.
thank you.
Thanks
man.
a lot. I appreciate your heart, Doug. Thank you.
Well, let's do it again sometime.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. This was wonderful. Because I Can and I'm Up is every day, 5 a.m. to 7. It's my favorite music. I don't think there's ever been an episode that one of William's songs hasn't been played. We appreciate you joining us. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks.